What is up, everyone? Piscean here. In this video, I'm going to go over political astrology case studies. And we're going to talk about a few different African American political figures, from Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King Jr., Candace Owens. Also, I'm live on Meet. Her fave Munch just joined. I wonder if they're going to say anything. Let's see. 37-year-old man, a cook, it says. Cook Anime 420. And he's not saying anything, so I usually have to block these people that come in my stream and just don't talk. It's a lot of men that just jerk off and spill their seed everywhere. Anyways, let's talk about political astrology case studies. Actually, I should probably grab a drink really quick. Alright. I'm back. Alright, so we're going to talk about a few different things here in regards to the individuals I already mentioned. And we're also going to look at primarily like natal configurations, which are of course hypothetical, because we don't actually have their times of birth. There's also event correlations and comparative analysis. This is a advanced compendium, rotten Reddit data, neutral analysis, and shout out to Report Labs for helping craft this PDF. So for a preparatory note, we see this compendium presents natal and event-oriented political astrology case studies of selected African American political figures. Emphasis is placed on verified or high-quality birth data. Rotten readings where available, major planetary signatures relevant to leadership, speech, conflict, transformation, and collective impact, and correlations with historically documented turning points. Analysis remains symbolic and non-deterministic. Charts are examined for patterns that illuminate style of political engagement rather than to claim causation. Where birth times are uncertain or unknown, solar charts or widely published approximations are noted. Comparative sections highlight both shared and divergent signatures across the set. We see the data source is Astro Databank, and cross-check public records. Interpretive synthesis is original to this work. So, first we're going to look at the methodological framework for political astrology, then we're going to look into the case studies of the individuals: Malcolm X, also known as Malcolm Little, Rosa Parks, MLK Jr., Candace Owens, and then we're going to do comparative signatures across the set with event correlation notes, and there's going to be an appendix data summary table with closing observations. So first is methodological framework for political astrology. Political astrology examines natal charts and transits progressions for signatures associated with public leadership, oratory, confrontation with authority, ideological commitment, and capacity to mobilize collective feeling. And we see key indicators include angular planets, especially the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Uranus, and Pluto. We also see Mercury in 3rd, 9th, 10th house emphasis for speech, media, and public standing. And we see Mars, Saturn, or Mars-Pluto contacts for conflict and discipline force. Uranus, Neptune, Pluto configurations for revolutionary, visionary, or transformative roles. Lunar nodes and their rulers for evolutionary collective direction themes. Outer planet transits to natal angles or luminaries that documented life crises and peaks. Each case study follows a consistent structure. And we see the birth data and rating, core luminaries and angles, standout configurations, and selected event correlations. Alright, so we're going to look at Malcolm X. Not necessarily look at him, but his case study in regards to his natal astrology. This is, again, hypothetical. May 19th, 1925, 10:25 p.m. CST, Omaha, Nebraska. The Ron AA score. So Sun's at Taurus, 28 degrees. Moon, Aries, 29 degrees. And Sagittarius rising. Sun in late Taurus applies fixed determination and material earthly focus. We see Moon in late Aries adds impulsive emotional drive and courage. Night birth with moon near the IC axis per published charts emphasizes private roots that later become public. And we see Sag rising. Approximate supports the prophetic, far-ranging oratorical style and internationalist phase of his later career. And then we're going to look at stand-up political signatures, so SBS, if you will, and then selected event correlations, so SEC. And then, yeah, that'll be primarily how we observe these charts and for these figures. So standout political signatures, we see strong Mars context and Cancer placements link personal will to protective tribal themes and open conflict. 7th house Mars and many house systems. Saturn in Scorpio retrograde and Pluto in Cancer contribute intensity, suspicion of power structures, and transformative crises. We see, and I'll just actually do these for you guys. Color code. Mercury Moon proximity supports rapid, emotionally charged speech that resonates with audiences. We see Uranus square the ascendant, published positions. Correlates with Sun shifts of identity, public image, Nation of Islam period to independent human rights phase. And prison conversion and rise within the Nation of Islam occurred under significant Saturn and Jupiter cycles to natal points. 1964-65 break with the nation's subsequent pilgrimage coincided with major outer planet transits activating the natal nodal and angular structure. Assassination February 21st, 1965 took place under a high-tension transit picture involving Mars and the outer planets relative to natal angles, a classic crisis signature in political astrology, though never deterministic. Next is Rosa Parks, who was born February 4th, 1913, 5:12 a.m. CST, Tuskegee, Alabama. Sun in Aquarius, 15 degrees. Moon in Capricorn, 25 degrees. Capricorn rising. So time is uncertain. 5:12 a.m. is a published approximation. Sun in Aquarius is a clear signature. We see fixed air, idealism, principal resistance to unjust systems, and capacity to become a symbol for collective change. Moon and rising in Capricorn under the time chart reinforce endurance, dignity, and quiet authority. So again, we're looking at the SPS and the SEC. Okay, so Sun-Uranus conjunction in Aquarius close in the natal sky is a classic marker of the individual who disrupts the status quo through principle non-conformity. Capricorn stellium, Moon, Mars, Jupiter under the time chart supplies discipline, strategic patience, and the ability to sustain a long campaign. I just completely fumbled that. I am so sorry, guys. Montgomery bus boycott. And I'm black. I'm definitely going to get ridiculed in a few years if I'm still around for that. I mean, what? Nothing's going to happen to me. The combination of Aquarian idealism with Capricorn structure produced the quiet revolutionary archetype, refusal without rhetoric, impact through steadfastness. And we see December 1st, 1955, the bus refusal occurred with transiting outer planets activating the Aquarius-Capricorn complex. We also see a subsequent year-long boycott and Supreme Court victory aligned with sustained Saturn and Uranus cycles that rewarded structured resistance. Later life recognition and legacy transits continue to emphasize the natal Sun-Uranus theme of becoming an enduring symbol. Alright, MLK Jr. January 15th, 1929, 12 noon, Atlanta, Georgia, Sun, Capricorn, 25 degrees, Moon in Pisces, 19 degrees, Taurus rising. Alright, so birth time approximately noon, family and contemporary sources. Sun in Capricorn supplies strategic ambition, organizational capacity, and long horizon leadership. Moon and Venus in Pisces as profound empathy, visionary idealism, and the ability to speak to suffering and redemption. The blend of Capricorn structure with Pisces compassion is central to his political spiritual style. Capricorn Sun and angular emphasis supports the disciplined architect of movements. So SCLC, carefully planned campaigns. Pisces Moon Venus gave the prophetic voice and moral imagination that transcended purely political framing. I have a dream. Mars Saturn opposition, widely noted in published analysis, correlates with the capacity to sustain pressure against entrenched power while maintaining strategic restraint, non-violence as disciplined force. And we see strong 9th, 10th house themes, speech, law, public mission aligned with the preacher politician archetype. And that is also Jupiter. Major campaign peaks, Montgomery, Birmingham, March on Washington, Selma, and the final crises in Memphis show repeated outer planet activation of the Capricorn Pisces axis and the Mars Saturn opposition. We see he was assassinated April 4th, 1968, which occurred under a high-stress transit configuration involving Mars and the outer planets to natal angles. Again, a crisis signature, not a prediction. Alright, and we're going to finally look at Candace Owens. Candace Owens, not Owens. Jesus. Alright, so Candace Owens was born April 29th, 1989, at the unknown time, Stamford, White Plains area. So, of course, the ascendant is unknown. And we see Suns in Taurus for sure, 9 degrees, April 29th, with Moon in Aquarius at 19 degrees. So the birth time's unknown. Planetary positions are for noon or published solar charts. Sun in Taurus supplies fixed resource-oriented determination and a preference for concrete results. Moon in Aquarius approximate adds emotional detachment, contrarian instinct, and orientation toward group ideology and media platforms. So we see the Taurus Aquarius tension is itself a political signature grounded identity, meeting unconventional or anti-establishment rhetoric. So we're going to look at a few events and political signatures. So Taurus Sun and Venus and Taurus emphasize value, loyalty, and material cultural conservation themes. Aquarius Moon supports rapid intensification with or against collective movements and comfort with polarizing public roles. Saturn, Uranus, Neptune concentration in Capricorn generational links personal career to broader questions of institutional authority and reform reaction. Then we see Pluto and Scorpio in aspects to personal planets intensify the confrontational transformative register of our public commentary. Rise to national visibility, 2017 through 2019 turning point USA period, and subsequent independent media career coincided with major Uranus and Saturn cycles relative to the Taurus, Aquarius, and Capricorn complexes. Public controversies and platform shifts track outer planet context, the natal Sun, Moon, Pluto structure, consistent with the high visibility, high polarization political media role. Here we are going to look at comparative signatures across a set. Despite differing eras and ideologies, several recurring patterns appear. So fixed sign emphasis, we see Taurus for Malcolm X, Candace Owens, Aquarius, Rosa Parks, Owens Moon, Capricorn for King Parks, Moon Ascendant. Fixed signs correlate with persistence and the capacity to become enduring symbols. Uranus context, the luminaries are angles, so Parks, Sun, Uranus, Malcolm X, Uranus Ascendant, and generational Uranus placements in the leader figures. Uranus marks disruption of existing social contracts. Strong Mercury, or 3rd, 9th, 10th themes, all 4 figures are defined by speech, writing, or media as primary political instruments. Mars-Saturn or Mars-Pluto tension visible in King and Malcolm X, present in more complex form in the later charts. The sexy self accompanies the willingness to confront institutional power. Divergent node and outer planet generational markers place each figure in a distinct collective way. We see Pluto in Cancer versus Scorpio, Neptune in Leo versus Capricorn, etc., shaping the available historical stage on which personal signatures play out. The comparative lens does not erase ideological differences. It shows how similar formal signatures can express through markedly different political contents depending on the era, personal choice, and historical opportunity. Sorry about the background noise. Okay, so now we're going to look at event correlation notes. So across the set, major public crises and peaks repeatedly coincide with the outer planets. Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto transits to natal Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or the midheaven. Activation of natal Mars, Saturn, or Mars-Pluto structures, and nodal axes contexts that reorient public role or ideology. These are correlative observations, not predictive rules. Political astrology is most useful as a language for describing the quality and timing of pressure rather than as a forecast of specific outcomes. So here is an appendix for data summary table with the figures, birth data, Sun, Moon, and the rating in regards to the Rodden AA score. And a primary source for time data, Astro Data Bank, interpretations and comparative framework, originals of this compendium. So Malcolm X, it's Taurus, Aries, so Sun, Moon. Rosa Parks, Aquarius, Capricorn. MLK Jr., Capricorn, Pisces. And you see Candace Owens, Taurus, Aquarius. And I will make a video, I haven't done this yet, but I wanted to make a video about Rodden rating scoring anyways, and like how to actually interpret and use. Alright, so closing observations. The four figures examined here occupy different ideological positions and historical moments, yet each demonstrates the classical political astrology pattern of angular or tightly aspected luminaries, strong speech signatures, and outer planet activation at public turning points. Fixed sign determination and Uranian disruption appear as common formal elements. The content of the politics diverges according to era, personal choice, and the larger generational planetary climate. Further research could usefully expand the set, for example, additional civil rights leaders, elected officials, and contemporary commentators, and test the recurrence of the signatures identified above against a larger control group. Political astrology, it remains a descriptive and correlative discipline. Its value lies in clarifying the qualitative timing and stylistic character of public lives rather than in forecasting discrete events. Thank you for watching this video with peace and love. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one. Piscean out.